Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sorting Hat Podcast. I am your host, Michael Barrity, and I am joined, as always,
by me, Katie Reed.
Jesus Christ, Katie.
Do.
You came in so hot.
I know, I almost like I rolled out of a car.
Sorry, all headphone listeners. What you have stumbled upon is our very first episode of the Sorting Hat Podcast. If you are here based purely on the name, this is not a nerd out of all things Harry Potter. In fact, it is more so the fascination with the Sorting Hat and the houses in association with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I've maybe seen the movies once. I'm not even sure that I've seen all of them, but I do know that I made all of my friends take the Pottermore quiz when it came out because I think sorting is amazing and you can do it to anything.
Right, and so that is the very thesis of this show. We are going to be sorting all things. You name it, we will be sorting it. And just to give you a gauge, I mean, obviously, we have to assume that Harry Potter is rather prevalent within our culture. And so people are somewhat familiar with the houses. But just to give you a general overview of the houses, you have your Gryffindors, who are primarily bolder and braver. They're very much for a cause. An example of this would be Teddy Roosevelt, who cared very much for the environment, but was a little bit brash periodically in the ways that he would take care of that sort of thing.
Yeah, man, he would soft talk and big stick, right? That's the quote?
Yep, that is exactly the quote, Katie. Thank you. If you're looking at your Ravenclaws, Ravenclaws are more inquiry-oriented. They're very fact-based and loyal. So someone like Spock falls under that category. If you're looking for your Hufflepuffs, I already can see Katie's just like lips pursed, like ready to say something about it. Hufflepuffs, by Katie's terminology, are the dorks of Hogwarts.
Listen, okay, I'm just saying there's a difference between a nerd and a dork, and that correlates to Ravenclaws and Hufflepuffs. Like, oh, I'm so excited. Who's your Hufflepuff?
My Hufflepuff is Bob Ross.
Oh, of course.
My example.
Oh, with his happy little trees.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so connected to nature. Oh, definitely.
Right, and Hufflepuffs are very big on nature, family,
Peace. They're very non-confrontational.
So those sorts of attributes make one a Hufflepuff. It's also worth noting, Katie is a Hufflepuff. I am a Ravenclaw.
I mean, just based off the first 2 minutes, I think everybody who's listening knows this information.
I suppose that's true. And then we get to our Slytherins, who it is worth noting, in the Harry Potter universe, Slytherins do get the short end of the stick, but possess qualities that the big strength is that they are clever and they're very driven.
And Machiavellian, they are snakes in the grass.
We're not trying to show any bias here. That is me with my Ravenclaw-like abilities to deal with all people and try to be balanced and fair. So an example of a Slytherin would be someone like Steve Jobs or Thomas Edison, for example.
Oh yeah, he electrocuted an elephant just to make a point about his competitor.
Well,
Slytherin.
Yeah, I mean, they'll sometimes get a little down and dirty, but they're very driven. You gotta give them that. So, as the Sorting Hat, the concept, as we've already sort of gone over, is that we're going to be dealing with everything and everything, all but the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
And so, to kind of start us off on that, I thought appropriate theming would be everything in a kitchen.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah, no, because I feel like that's relatable. Everybody probably owns a kitchen unless you live in a studio apartment.
Right. And so, so we're just going to be going through and figuring out what goes where in your kitchen, from your kitchen cabinets to the houses of Hogwarts.
Right.
So, if we're starting out, I was just thinking about this before, and I do feel I'm starting kind of an out there realm.
All right, let's go out there. Let's
Colanders.
Oh, colanders. Let's see. Sleek things drain out of them.
I already have one in my head, but I'm curious to see where you land on this.
Okay, first of all, they are part of usually stuff like pasta making, which is very, very particular. They're usually made out of like stainless steel. I'm going to say, my gut off the hip, I'm going to go Ravenclaw for the colander.
I am not with you on that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe that they're Hufflepuffs.
What?
Yeah.
How the hell are they huffly puffly?
They are huffly puffly based on they're like a one tool function. And like, I mean, many of the items within your kitchen tend to have that sort of thing, but these are like pasta specific, or I suppose like,
I don't know, dude. You're gonna be rinsing some rice. You're gonna be rinsing some salad.
you're not rinsing rice in a colander, Katie.
You can tell I do a lot of cooking, ladies and gentlemen.
This is fair. But I'm just thinking like a colander. Maybe it also comes down to, in my head, I went off of the kid in the kitchen, and the kid in the kitchen's gonna wear a colander like a helmet. And
I see. I'm more of a pot man myself. Better for clinking, more protection.
Oh, see, I see it being like colander, hair sticking out, bang the pots and pans. But
in my head, I see this being a tool that correlates to a child who is eager to help out in the kitchen and learn how to cook. And that's usually one of the first tasks that you would give a child, is you'd be like, oh yeah, you can rinse that.
Right, but the kid who's eager and wanting to like help out, that's a communal sort of activity. Hence, Hufflepuff.
You know what? I think you've convinced me.
You said it so like, well then, we will tick this off and move this into the Hufflepuff category. I'm not like steadfast on it. I can understand your points as far as Ravenclaw is concerned. I have actually been struggling to figure out what a Slytherin kitchen item is.
Oh, I can tell you right now, the cheese grater. There is nothing that will slice you open faster without you thinking that it's gonna do it than a cheese grater. Also, you can't lick it, but you want to.
I just like that whenever you're going Slytherin, you are immediately going for like, this thing is going to harm you.
Okay, but I'm just saying, are there any Slytherins in Harry Potter that were not down and dirty and trying to hurt you and slice open your face like a cheese grater?
I feel like there were some lackey characters, like both Crabbe and, oh my god, I'm blanking on Malfoy's other lackey friend.
Oh, who cares? Larb.
Says the,
Crabbe and Larb. Oh, you're gonna get so okay. I don't want to get hate mail.
Yeah.
There's probably somebody who's a big Larb fan.
Yeah, you can direct all of your hate mail to
larb@gmail.com.
So yeah, I'm just thinking like there are the, I mean, as far as Slytherin go, yeah, I can see cheese grater serving that Slytherin-like quality.
Or I would also say those as seen on TV products that do not work, and you spent $29.95 plus shipping and handling to get it, and you go and you put the stuff in the magic bullet, and it pulses twice, and that's not guacamole, and the engine burns out.
Oh, you're getting so fiery on this sort of stuff. So we've got. I should be marking these things down. Colander is in. Thanks for hanging with us as we figure out the format of our show, guys.
Very professional.
Very professional. Where do you think knives, forks, and spoons fall?
Now, I feel like the spoon is a Hufflepuff, and the knife is a Slytherin because it will stab you in the back.
We gotta tone this one down, Katie. It's not just like, I mean, truthfully, if you're just being like anything harmful goes Slytherin, like you then have to divide up your knives, because a butter knife, like, you need a lot of force to drive that one in.
Yeah, that's Larb. He's the dull knife. No, I feel like Gryffindors are forks. At least in most American households, it's gonna be the star of the show. You're gonna be using that more than anything else, so it likes to be center of attention.
Mm-hmm. But why is Hufflepuff the spoon? See, I see the spoon being a Ravenclaw.
Really, why?
You have one way that thing's gonna go. It's got the scoop function, which I see being like moderately brave. Also, as far as like spoonage goes, I don't know. I see spoons always dealing with like soups and whatnot, which Ravenclaws have a adventurous nature, going into the unknown. They're breaking the surface underneath. I don't know. I'm thinking I get the Gryffindor on the fork. I completely see. Also, there's like the strength of just the fork. It's got the trident-like symbolism.
For the knife, I still say it's a Slytherin, but not necessarily because it's evil, but because it can be serrated, so it gets the job done, and it'll do the difficult jobs that nobody else wants to do.
It's a more dedicated task, or
Right.
a dedicated tool for the task at hand, and willing to get a little bit dirty. Making those cuts. I'm wondering, like, we've still got our pots, our pans,
Right.
But do you want to backtrack? It seemed like you wanted to backtrack.
Oh, I was just gonna say, the spork is Hufflepuff.
Yeah, the sport's Hufflepuff, like, no question. Because, like, what is that? And it's, like, very even keel about... It's very content.
Whatever you need, man, it's fine.
Yeah.
Just shovel it in there. Let's eat.
Well, and it's been said that the Hufflepuffs are kind of the hobbits or like the hobbity side, dealing with food, that sort of thing. So, okay, onto pots and pans.
Absolutely.
I mean, I feel like both of those just get Gryffindor status. Purely
definitely.
based on they're very, like, solid, sturdy, they're functional. I mean, for the functional aspect, it really, like...
They can withstand some heat, so they're passionate.
Yeah.
And that's what Gryffindors are definitely, like, the more passionate, I feel, of all the houses. So they're going to go up against that direct heat and be able to take it and return from it.
Slytherins are also very, like, resilient in that capacity, however. But I do agree that, I guess, I just don't always want us to default to, like, it's noble, so it has to be a Gryffindor.
Well, I'm just saying that's where all the heroes of this book named Harry Potter tend to be sorted into.
That's fair. I'm curious, though, as far as kitchen appliances go. I mean, you've got your toasters, you've got your waffle irons, your blenders, your... trying to think of any other, like, major appliances, but those are microwave.
Oh, the microwave is definitely a product of science. It's got, like, nuclear energy in it, probably. Ravenclaw!
So you're sending it to Ravenclaw based on its more like, oh, look at the wonders of this.
It has a potato button. What does it even do? That's science that I don't understand.
Fair. Yeah, that one's pretty clean. Toaster, I'd argue, is a Slytherin.
Ooh. Oh, because it can be very temperamental.
Initially, I was thinking it was Gryffindor, but then I thought a little bit more about it, and it's like, it's one of those things, like, it's got a lot of power, and sometimes it doesn't know what to do with it.
Definitely, and it's very single-minded. There's not many things that you can stick into the slots. I know, I have tried. Do not put a hot dog bun in a toaster. It's going to get stuck, and your house is going to catch on fire.
Now, does a toaster oven get a different category slot? I feel like it's the same, but I just would like to, like, put that one out into the ether.
I feel like a toaster oven could actually be a Gryffindor. Again, it's got that heat, it's got that containment. There are more things that you can do with it, so it works better with other things. It's more easygoing to work with. But
for that very reason...
It still can be hot-headed.
Well, but in that regard, would it be crazy for a toaster oven to be Hufflepuff? I'm just thinking...
I would feel only because, I don't know if you've ever used a toaster oven, but it feels like it can be very wildly inconsistent, especially if it's not a very good one. And I feel like Hufflepuffs are more even-keeled.
That's fair. I was thinking the, like, come to me with whatever, and, like, we'll make it work. And that's kind of more of a toaster oven. So, like, if you're trying to heat up cold pizza... totally fine. If you're trying to heat up, you put the tin foil in or whatever to, like, heat up something else, just, like, as opposed to the microwave.
Yeah. Anything that gets complicated, it can be less reliable.
Right. Also, you probably shouldn't be putting tin foil in a microwave, but...
no.
Sorry.
Write that down.
I mean, tin foil in a toaster oven either.
Oh, really?
Well, just I'm thinking...
What's leaching into it? Chemicals?
I don't know. I just feel like... that sort of stuff can mess with it.
Welcome to the first of things that Michael worries about that we're not even sure is a thing.
I'm sure there will be many more. I'm overly cautious sometimes. Waffle iron.
Now, the waffle iron, that's interesting because it creates these multifaceted pockets of goodness with which you can fill things.
Right. It's single function.
Yeah.
It's got a dedicated function to it.
Right. I'm going to say, my gut says Hufflepuff.
Yeah, see, I was thinking that initially, but then I'm, curious if because it's very dedicated to a singular thing, and again, this is, the fun gray areas of these houses, because, a Gryffindor, somebody who's suited for Gryffindor, like Harry, can also potentially be, well-suited for Slytherin based on just, very passionate, strong belief systems.
However, when you think about it, a waffle iron, if it doesn't have a uniform structure that it works around, it will fall apart. It's not a very adventurous food maker.
Are you then trying to shift this over to Ravenclaw?
No, I'm saying Hufflepuff. I feel like Hufflepuffs probably benefit from a bit of structure in their life. Maybe Ravenclaw.
See, I'm thinking Ravenclaw now purely based on the angular sort of it needs a bit of order to it, being a little more, also the geometry associated with it of it's squares, it's circles, it's all very clean and linear, or more linear in nature than something like, say, a blender. I think we're gonna have to return to the waffle iron. But who
would have thought the most controversial so far would be a waffle iron?
Certainly not I. Because, I think we both came into the waffle iron being like, oh, it's Hufflepuff. But then
once you start unpacking the waffle iron, you see that it's more complex than you thought.
Right. Oh, man. I mean, I think for now, let's default the waffle iron to being Hufflepuff. But you all are welcome to disagree with us and let us know on Twitter. We'll be giving out our Twitter handles at the end of this. Moving on to the blender, and I think once we deal with blender, we're gonna close this out. I think we've dealt with enough items in the kitchen.
All right, now, go with me on this journey.
Okay.
I feel like, out of many things in the kitchen with which you cook, and what is cooking but gastronomical science, the blender reminds me of a beaker. You're adding these ingredients into it, and you're causing this sort of alchemy to happen when you blend the things together. You can be more adventurous with it. You often do, and you can take Ravenclaws are more intellectually adventurous than they're given credit for. So you'll put a wild piece of kale into your smoothie, and it might turn out to not taste like garbage.
So you're saying blenders are Ravenclaws?
Oh, definitely. And it's got all those different, all those settings that you're like, why do you even have, 5 different blend modes? But a Ravenclaw would understand exactly why there are 5 different blend modes.
Well, and they've probably also experimented with those 5 different blend modes.
And they've experimented with ice types, and they've experimented with refrigerating the food, or having the food non-refrigerated before it's stuck in.
That makes a whole lot of sense. I was going through of what it couldn't be, and the one that I mean, this is again, sorry Slytherins, but Slytherins do have a purity edge to them, and for that very reason, you wouldn't be mixing things in a blenders for them. No.
Yeah, can any of you actually envision a Slytherin drinking a margarita? Because I cannot.
There the shade comes back from our resident Hufflepuff.
I love margaritas. I hate Slytherins.
Okay.
Don't touch. Just leave them alone.
I know. I just teed you up to be angry.
Whenever you want to. If you want me. Ugh.
Well, on that note, as we've rambled on a little bit on the subject of kitchens, we'll be dealing with all sorts of subjects in the future. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Michael Barity. You can find me at Belated Media on Twitter. You can follow Katie at @KatieReed. That is that Katie Reed. Katie spelled with a K, Reed spelled with an R, 2 E's and a D.
And hit me up if you want to talk about LARB.
LARB is not a character.
Oh, it is now, baby.
All right, and write us the fanfic of LARB. in Slytherin house.
Larb the butter knife.
So we've sorted a handful of characters now, and we will be sorting many more on the Sorting Hat podcast. Thank you all for listening, and yup.
Bye, guys.
Bye.